I'm Wes Adams, and I'm the CEO of Visionary Metals Corp. The reason I'm here today is to talk to you about what we think is the last frontier for nickel sulfides in North America. It's one of the least explored greenstone belts. We've just made a new nickel discovery there. We think it has district scale potential, and we think we're very close to unlocking that potential in the next year to 2 years here as we continue to drill our targets. Before I start, I'll advise everybody to take a look at our forward-looking information disclosure in your own time. It's on our website. So how did we find the first nickel sulfide deposit in Wyoming? We like to use systematic exploration. I've been in the mining industry for 3 generations. We always like to approach things scientifically. So when you're entering a new district, you got to cover large areas. This one in particular is about 100 kilometers from one side of the belt to the other, and that's just what we've explored so far. We had a discovery hole on our 3rd hole ever into this greenstone belt targeting nickel. We hit 17 meters at 0.42%. And there was nickel sulfide in that. It's not just olivine. So the kind of nickel that people need to make electric vehicles, stainless steel, and other specialty products. So since we made our discovery hole, we've done some RC drilling. It's indicative in nature, but we've hit on 12 of 14 holes, and we did see nickel sulfide in those holes as well. So the structure that we've identified, the first of about a dozen that we're drilling, we've hit on 12 of 14 holes this year and 3 out of the 5 last year. So very high hit rate. I think when we go back to core drill the RC holes, that we'll see the grade come up closer to around 0.4 to 0.5, we hope. And so then the other aspect of what we're doing is de-risking. We've done all of our cultural, environmental studies, and we're in an area that has excellent infrastructure. That's one of the things that I target when I'm looking for a new mineral district, is a place with excellent infrastructure, community that supports mining, and a place where not that many people live. And so we check all the boxes from that perspective. Some of you might be wondering why we're so excited about nickel when the price has just come off so far. Actually, I think that's the best time to develop commodities, is when the prices are low. So it's a great opportunity to get in. We see demand as we get into the late 2020s and early 2030s really taking off here. So for us to have a new discovery, our goal is to have a development company when the price starts to rise, so that we can get financing for development or find a development partner for this. In the US right now, there's a lot of federal financing available for critical and strategic minerals. And this is a big advantage to companies that are operating there. There's not many nickel deposits in the continental US. So we have Tamarack, which is being developed by Talon, and then we have the Eagle Mine in Michigan, and then Twin Metals. In Minnesota, they're not as mining friendly as they are in Wyoming. We've had great support for our project. We've had both of our senators and our congresswoman in Wyoming send representatives to our project. We gave a show and tell. What came out of that was they've selected us as a finalist for $1 million in grant money for exploration through the state energy authority. And I think that's a precursor to accessing some of the Department of Defense and Department of Energy financing that's available federally. And so that's about an 8-month process, but we're starting it now. And I think we're a very good candidate to access some of the government funding for critical metals exploration. Why should you invest in Wyoming? Geologically, Wyoming's very similar to the Superior Province in Canada, the Abitibi. It's part of an Archean craton. It's really broken up into 3 parts, and we're right on the margin. That's why we have nickel sulfide here, and we'll get to that a little later. Wyoming is unique in that it has some of the lowest electricity costs in the country. We produce about 40% of domestic coal production in the US every year. We also produce a lot of uranium and oil and gas, and then we're the largest exporter of electricity as well. So we have wind energy is a big part of that. So it's a great place to work. They really love mining there, but there's a need to diversify away from fossil fuels. And that's why they're supporting us in doing that, and so that they can provide jobs in, not focused just on coal, but on other future commodities like nickel, cobalt, and platinum group elements. Geologically, Wyoming, I said, is very similar to Canada. What you can see on this slide, the big brown blocks on the right and the left side of that slide are basically represent a continental collision zone. And that's whenever you have two continents colliding, you get magmas that come up from the core of the earth. They mix with iron formation and sediments that have sulfide in them, and that's how you form nickel sulfide. Focusing in on the 100-kilometer long trend that we've identified, we have about a dozen targets. This is in the middle of the state in the Granite Mountains, which is a very good place to work. The state of Wyoming just flew a big airborne survey for us. It's a magnetic survey. And what we've found is that it's very good at picking out the ultramafic structures. These are the structures that could contain nickel. The first one that we've drilled is the one to the bottom right there. It's called King Solomon, and that's where we've done all our drilling. But as you can see, there's about a half dozen other targets, including Tin Cup, which is 5 kilometers long, that are right next door. So we really think that this could be just the first of many discoveries that we're going to make in the next couple of years here, and that we'll be able to put together a lot of tons and hopefully have some high grade in the system as well. So when you're looking at nickel deposits, especially in Archean terrains, some of the oldest rocks in the world, you want to be right along that cratonic edge, right? The edge of where the continental collision occurred. You need olivine-bearing magmas, which come from the core of the earth and contain nickel, and then sediment-rich or sulfur-rich sediments. And typically, Archean nickel deposits occur around 2.7 billion years ago. So a lot of the ones in the Superior Province in Canada, in Western Australia, are around the same age. So we have all the ingredients, and our chief geologist, who spent time at Norelse Nickel as director of exploration, has come out of retirement to take on this project because it is the first new discovery of nickel sulfide in the continental US since the Eagle Mine was discovered. Locally, what we've mapped out here is the King Solomon intrusive. It's about 500 meters wide by 1,000 meters long. It dips shallowly, very similar to the Eagle deposit in Michigan. And so we've modeled it down to about 200 meters. That's the depth that we've drilled it to. We've hit disseminated mineralization in all of the holes that actually hit the target. And we've defined the boundaries of that target. So it's about 1,000 meters by 500. But there's more that look just like this one that we're going to be drilling this year as well. So big potential for growth. When you're looking for nickel, you want to make sure you've got nickel sulfide in the system. And so what we see here is a microscope analysis. It shows that we have pentlandite, violarite, and pyrrhotite, which is a classic nickel sulfide assemblage. And what that means is that this is a true magmatic system, and we could have higher grades at depth as we drill. So what we're going to do next is fly big airborne survey, identify the zones of chargeable metal subsurface, and hope to hit some massive sulfide in the next drill program here. Moving away, this is about 10 miles to the east of King Solomon, where we made our discovery. We have a 5 kilometer long structure that's got nickel all along it, and it's in contact with the iron formation, which has sulfide in it. So we think this is a great target for nickel sulfide. We already know that it continues for 5 kilometers, could extend further than that under cover. And we've also run some geophysics across it. We want to make sure there's chargeable metals in these structures. And so we definitely have that. It's a lookalike to King Solomon geophysically, where we have low resistivity and high chargeability in the rock. And so we're really excited to drill this one, not just because of the potential for nickel sulfides, but also because of the size of it. We also have some follow-up work to do at the Black Rock target, which is about 3 miles in the other direction from King Solomon. And this one has gold mineralization at surface. We've sampled up to 9% copper and 0.2% nickel in rock chip samples. So we did 1 hole of drilling there, didn't hit any nickel sulfide. We did have some nickel in the system. So what we're gonna do is run some geophysics to see if we can find the source of that mineralization, because it is unique in that it has high grade gold, copper, and all the things that you look for when you're looking for these type of deposits. So the big takeaway here, we're a little earlier stage. Most of the companies that are developing nickel assets right now are working on brownfields targets, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's where a lot of mines are found, is where they've been found before. I think if you're looking for world-class districts, you have to look somewhere else. You have to go to the places that are unexplored. And so that's what we've done in Wyoming. We've laid all the groundwork. We've proven our principle that there is nickel sulfide and that this belt, basically spans across about 1/3 of the state. And so it's wide open right now. We're kind of pioneering the exploration efforts there. And I think it could have district scale potential. This summer is going to be very important. We've got a program put together to fly the whole belt with airborne VTEM survey, and that's going to show us where the high-grade mineralization is within the system, and then we're going to test those targets. So a lot to be excited about, and we've already done most of the groundwork here to get to this point. So there's not a whole lot of high-risk exploration to take place from here out. We've already established that there's nickel sulfide and that there's many targets, and once we do the VTEM survey, we'll have several drill targets that are going to be lower risk than what we had at King Solomon when we started there. Our company is a little bit unique in that we're held by very tightly. We've got about 10 of us that own 80% of the stock. And so I'm the largest shareholder. As the CEO, I don't take a salary. We also have a couple of the seed investors in Royal Gold Corporation that have invested with us, and then other mining executives. So we funded the high-risk portion of the exploration, the early stage exploration, out of our own pockets. And now, we're just starting to take on outside capital to drill the priority targets that we have. About 150 million shares outstanding, fully diluted, 199 million. So we've got about a $12 million market cap today, but it is a lot tighter held than what the share count would appear, just because it's held by very high net worth individuals that are long-term investors. So we have a big opportunity to create some near-term value here. We're going to drill at King Solomon, try to work toward a resource there. I think we have a very good shot at what we're targeting is somewhere around 20 million tons at 0.4 would be the goal. And so we'll be doing some core drilling at King Solomon, but also at Tin Cup and Black Rock and some of these other targets in between that look equally as appealing. So it's going to be a really exciting year for us. Our newest addition to the team on the management team was Michael Page. He's our chief geologist. Mike's one of the top nickel geologists, I would say globally. He was director of exploration for Norilsk. He spent 5 years in Russia, working for the largest producer of nickel in the world. Also spent about a decade working with Ivanhoe Mines, and BHP and Goldfields. He actually started his career at Energy Fuels in Wyoming. So it's kind of come full circle for him, but he came out of retirement to take on this project because it's the only nickel sulfide discovery in the continental US in quite some time. We put a lot of people around him that are very experienced, and we have our in-house geophysicists as well, a lot of strong capital markets people on the board, and I think we're poised for success here in Wyoming. Thank you guys for attending today. I guess we can open it up for some questions now.